Good evening and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is July 8th, 2016. My name is Lynn Marquidant and I'm your host. Welcome. Today we're braiding rugs. So grab your project and come do something with me. It's amazing what we can get done in 60 minutes. So why braided rugs, you ask, in the middle of summer with wool? Well, first off, believe it or not, wool is fairly breathable and is okay to wear in the summertime. In fact, hiking, you'll wear wool socks because it'll wick the water away from your feet. Yes, it does get warm when it's on my lap, but when I'm braiding rugs, I'm not putting it on my lap, I'm putting it out on the table. And the real reason why I'm doing this is because a friend of mine really inspired me to get to it. She gave me a lot of garments and yardage of wool, and has a history in her family of braided rugs that she was sharing with me, and I'll share with you later in the program. And so it inspired me to get moving and make her a braided rug. So, for those of you who have braided rugs before, I'd love to hear what you've done and what kind of success you've had. I am going to jump right in, and as always, send pictures and emails to lmarquidant@gmail.com, and I'll read your emails and see what you're working on, or post on the Facebook page, Facebook Simply Colorful, or on our Google Hangout. So welcome. It's Friday! Yay! You wouldn't think it was a holiday weekend. It felt like we crammed 2 weeks worth of work into 4 days. So, where to begin? Well, first off, I wanted to show a little, oh good, I hear you out there. Oh, and before we go any further, Juliana, I see you out there. And Elise, I see you too. This is one small hooked rug pad that I made several years ago, and I actually have started a second one here with very small braids. All hooked rugging is, and I don't know if you can see that, is you braid your wool and then you what they call lace it together in a circle or an oblong to create your shape. Now, beyond that, there are a lot of tricks. There's a lot of counting. It isn't quite as easy as it looks, but I highly recommend if you have any extra wool hanging around or you've ever wanted to do it. Jean, I know you're out there. It's easy. And just jump right in and you can make it work. Now this is pretty flat. The key, there's another trick that we're going to get into is as you lace it up, it can become cupped and you make a bowl, or it can become wavy. So the trickiest part of making a braided rug, I'm so used to making hooked rugs, I keep wanting to say hooked, is the lacing. And so when you start in the middle, we're going to lace every one together, and then as you go out, we're actually going to skip some turns. Think of it this way. On your third row, we're going to lace 2, skip 1. So that's 3. Lace 2, skip 1. That's 3. On the fourth row, we're going to lace 3, skip 1. That's 4. On the fourth row, we're going to lace 3, skip 1. That's 4. And again, we'll get into it when we get started. So the first step was I went through and I've cleaned up and I've actually washed all of the fabrics that have been sent over. Hey, Jean, hi. Sorry, everyone. I got distracted by the dinger. Jean asks if I'm back in the studio, and I'm not. I've just turned 50 degrees. I'm still in the temporary studio in the dining room of our home. Bob has been putting in the hardwood floors upstairs. He's 1/3 of the way done. And he came downstairs today and his back hurt because he'd been leaning over and using that nailer that you punch, you go. So I would say by fall we'll be back up in the Simply Colorful studio, and I can't wait because we'll have the big quilts behind us and we'll do another mystery quilt. So I've seen you online. You've been asking for another mystery quilt. We are going to do it. Okay. But today is all about braided rugs, and I'm having a ball. So let's, first off, I want to show you these different garments that For example, now isn't that the cutest little jacket? This is, I've washed it, literally I've washed all of the wool in the washing machine and dryer. So it's all felted up, and any food particles that might have been on it are gone so that the moths have nothing to eat. And I'll tell you the truth, some of it does already have moth holes. I'm okay with that. I've gotten all of the organic material out of it. I've washed it, so I feel confident that now that we make it into a rug, it will last for a long time. Of course, rugs get used, they get organic matter gets on them, food gets on them. Over time, they wear away. But these rugs are amazingly thick, especially the one I'm making right now, and they wear for years. And you can turn them over, you can rotate them, you can keep them in and out of the sun. You might see some braided rugs, not hooked rugs. Some braided rugs are faded from the sun, and they just last for literally generations. So here are different garments. Now here's a skirt, for example, and I just wanted to show you the first step is to pick out your colors. So I went through all of these fabrics that Elise and family have lent to me because I'm giving them back to them in the form of a rug or the fabric itself. I'm giving it back to you. I picked out fabric, and one of these was a skirt. One of these is a blanket. This is literally, I cut up a skirt, and these are the leftovers of the skirt, and I'll show you how I cut up the skirt. This was the blanket. I found some good, I'm not using too much of this in the rug, but I did find some good pieces. And it's been loved, this rug has been loved, it's been patched, and now it's going to see a second life in the braided rug. Now some of these, like these skirts, we got up at Door Mill. So Jean, I hope you remember that road trip we took many years ago. And I'm actually going to use one of these. Let's use, this purple, I guess. I've already cut out the lining of it, and I wanted to just show you how I prepared the wool. So I'm going to put this down here, and I picked out my fabrics, and I've actually rolled them and created these rolls that are going to be braided to form the rug. But I want to show you how I create these rolls, and the trick is water, believe it or not. I know, you're saying, what, on wool? Well, yes, because it's just damp enough to create a good crease. And no, wool is always good to rip. Oh, this is beautiful fabric. This is a Pendleton skirt. Some of the fabric that Elise and family gave me, and I'm not going to use their name because I didn't ask them ahead of time, but they know who they are, and certainly if you're out there, send me an email if you'd like to say more and tell people more, and I'll actually read Elise's father's note to her about the history, which I love to hear. But basically, see how much fabric is in a skirt? Now these are good. Compare the fabric in this skirt to the little pieces in this jacket. Now there are a couple of reasons why I didn't use this jacket. In addition to there being very small pieces that we'll have to sew all together to create this, which is labor intensive, it's a very loose weave, very loose, and I just didn't want to, in fact it may not be all wool, although it's lovely. Ooh, and look at this button. Oh my goodness, my dolls are going to like this button. Look at that button. I know you can't see it, but it's like a red, white, and blue button. It's lovely. The weave is too loose for my liking, for this particular thing. So we'll keep this. Maybe we'll make something for a piece of clothing for one of our dolls. But conversely, skirts are wonderful to cut up for rugs. And I want to show you how I would do it. So here's literally half of the skirt. And I am using 4-inch strips. And literally, I just make slits at every 4 inches. If it's most wool is 60 inches off the bolt. So rather than, it doesn't matter which way you cut it. It's on the, just tear it on either the weft or the waft, or the weave or the waft. For you weavers out there, you know what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter which way you rip it. Rip it the longest way. So we clean off the top, and then we literally just rip our 4-inch pieces. Now, like always, this FiberCast isn't a tutorial. Definitely go to YouTube. There are all sorts of how-to videos. There are lifelong braiders, Marge down in Connecticut, Ridgeville, I think. Lots of excellent sources. And so this I could use for my hooked rugs. It's just beautiful wool. Okay, so here I have these 4. Now literally what I do is, because that's so short, I'm going to sew a couple of these pieces together. And that's why I have my sewing machine here. And I know it looks like I have piles, but I wanted to make sure you saw everything. And again, send me what you're working on. I know it's been a long week, and I'd love to hear how your holiday went. And I know I owe you so many finishes, like the doll that I started. But like I say, I saw Elise and Juliana and Howard. I don't want to say your last name. Okay, so here's this. Now here's the trick. Take a water bottle and give it just a light mist. And then fold over 2/3. Now, some people use braidkins. I'm sorry, Braideds. Remember these? And I have used it on the smaller braids. But they get in the way, and I find it takes me more time to feed the fabric. You're supposed to feed the fabric through, and it automatically turns it over so you can braid it. This way seems to work better for me. So literally, I fold it over 2/3 and then about 1 inch. And then I fold it in half. And then I start to roll it up. And by misting it, it forms a crease. And they're wonderful to use. They don't get too twisted because they're not one continuous row that goes for miles, or 3 continuous pieces that we ultimately are going to braid. The braid is just like you braid a child's hair or your own hair. And then once it gets big enough, you tip it over on its side, and then you literally, you just keep feeding around and you make a cinnamon bun. Is there nothing more beautiful than a piece of wool fabric and royal blue, a royal purple to boot? Royal regal purple. Okay, so literally I put a pin in it and I'm just going to spray the rest. So what you do is, and there are all sorts of mathematical equations to figure out how much wool you need. Those are online. If you're using garments, I don't know if you saw that source, and this was, I can't even give you the source of where I heard this or read it, but it takes hundreds of garments to make one of those big, say 9 by 12 oval rugs, especially if you're working with a jacket that has lots of small pieces, and you need these 4-inch widths of pieces. Skirts are great, pants are good, but jackets are a pain to pull your wool out of, so I always like to augment with blankets, and literally, so see, that's ready to rock and roll into a rug. I definitely augment with bolts of wool. Now this one isn't all that great, the weave is pretty loose, but it serves as a nice neutral for rugs. So if you can, if you ever find a bolt of wool, grab it. Okay, so I picked out my colors. I did it all. I got all my loops ready. This, and I'll need more, but this is a good start. And I numbered them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Oh, and the other things we're going to need are, this is our lacing thread. It's hollow, and that's important because I'm going to show you a magic trick of how we join this without creating a knot. So you need this special lacing. It's literally braided rug lacing twine. Some sort of a needle, a braidkin, a bobkin. This one I happened to get a braidkin, and I got it up at Halcyon Yarn. Although I think I got it down on the Cape in Carver. But they're everywhere. And again, if you want the braid aids, those are available too. Braided, look it up online. Again, I don't use those anymore. And you'll need a darning needle. And let's see about we'll keep going. Well, I want to show you what I've done so far. And then I will see who's out there, and then we'll keep going. So, this is your rug, Elise. When I just showed it up, I'm not so sure I like the middle of it, but it will be fine. And it's really thick, really, really thick. You can see I have braided, and we're just going to keep going. So, before I go any further, let's see who is out there, and we'll go from there. Oh, and I have a book all about wool that I wanted to read to everyone. So we have lots to get to, and I wanted to share what happened in history, and we're going to have a fun FiberCast. So, Jean, to answer your question, no, I'm not back in the studio yet, but I will be this fall. Get to the right one. Hey, hey, Beth Allen. Hi. Beth Allen says, yummy rugs. Love them. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Are there many rugs down in South Carolina? And what kinds are they? Are they mainly hooked rugs? Do you have braided rugs? I'm curious. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying cool. It was, you want to hear something funny? It was like Little House on the Prairie around here earlier today. Bob's upstairs putting in hardwood floors. I'm down here braiding wool. The air conditioner's on, which is a little not house on the prairie, and then Bob comes, because yesterday it was really hot around here, and I have discovered I love air conditioning. So I'm braiding my rug here in the air conditioning. Bob comes in tonight and says, you know, it's 69 degrees outside. So I should not have had the air conditioner on. So we turned that off. Anyway, Beth Allen, I hope you're not too hot. Angela, hello, how are you? Angela says, I've been enjoying watching you make the dolls. I can't wait to see them finished. Oh, I don't know if you, I promise I am going to finish some. And Allie down at the Vineyard has designed a doll that we're going to make for the fair. So stay tuned. In fact, some of the fabric that came from Elise, I've already washed, and it's lovely. This is a nice muslin that is all washed and dried, smells lovely. This is a linen curtain that's going to make some awesome clothing for dolls. And linen, when you wash it, just gets softer and softer. And my friend Sarah taught me that. And then this, believe it or not, I've not washed it. And I think it's silk. I'm pretty sure. I have not done the burn test, but the fiber itself tears very, very easily. I don't think it's polyester, although it might be. So I still have to burn it to find out. Either way, it's lovely. And we're going to be making dolls. So Angela, stay tuned. I promise you we'll be doing more dolls. And like I say, there's been a lot of call for a mystery quilt, so we are going to get back to that in the fall. And I know we haven't done our bag yet. FiberCast. It's every week I know I have an excuse. Anywho, Angela goes on, she says, my mother and granddaughter just visited, and while they were here, they helped me make this quilt for my aunt's great-granddaughter, Emma. It's her granddaughter. Handed me my squares while I assembly line sewed, and then my mother, Kitty, helped me put it on my long arm. What a treat, she said, it was to have all that help, and I enjoyed working together, doing something I love. What a memory. That's what it's all about, isn't it? That's great. She goes on to say, by the way, I love that you were outside last week. Oh, good. It reminded me that my husband wants to get a boat. Ooh, fun. I told him, yes, I would go boating if he could figure out a way to put my sewing machine on it. I love it. Anyway, hi to all the FiberCasters, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Angela in Florida, and look at your quilt. I love that. Oh, what a memory you made. I love it. And it's got a design in a design. I love that. Is that your design? Very nice. Dawn, hi Dawn. How are you? She says, a good night to hang with a friend. Aw. Sewing a lightweight zippered wallet tonight. Decided my purse was so heavy that if I fell off a pier, the purse would anchor me in the briny deep and I'd drown. Dawn, I love your way with words. But just think, that's a benefit in some cases. A purse being that heavy. You could also, if a gale came along or a tornado, your purse will keep you from flying away. Right? So it's both sides. But I do like the idea of a lightweight wallet. So out with the mega heavy wallet, says Dawn. I'm creating something lighter and easier to carry in my purse. Have fun rug braiding. Always wanted to make one. Well, let's get to it. It's really easy, Dawn. Okay, so you can see that I've created my braid. I've gone around and around, and I've laced it together. And I'm going to lace a little bit, and then I'm going to show you the magic of extending this lace. And I may have even shown everyone extending the lace on this. Or maybe maybe at Marathon Quilters I showed it. It's really quite the trick. Because remember, and I'm sure you be thinking about how you think I'm going to magically extend this piece of thread without a knot. Be thinking, in fact, I'm going to cut off another piece. And I'll give you a hint. The thread is hollow. Okay, but we'll come back to that in a second. So remember I said that for each row, we lace in and then we skip a certain number? I am on the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on my 6th circle, so I do 5 outer laces and 1 skip. And I'm always lacing into every one of the rug. We call this the rug, this the braid. And the reason you skip every 6th loop on the braid is so that, again, you don't get waving or cupping. And I tell you, I had forgotten how hard braiding is on your hands. I'm literally using this special bodkin. I'm going in between the braid I'm not piercing any of the wool. I'm just going in between each one. And then I'm marking what I skipped with this pin. So I skipped that. So I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's literally this easy. You go around and around. 5. Oh, no, not yet. This is 5. Okay. 5. And now I'm going to get a pin, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put the pin here to skip that one. And then I literally go into, I start over. So 1, 2. Now, the beauty of this lacing is that if you pull it tight, you don't see it on the back. And I should say, using 4-inch strips, which I started with, to now make these 1-inch widths braids, makes for a very thick rug. You may want to do it at 3.5 inches or even 3 inches if you have a desire for a thinner rug. But this works great. This is going to receive, it's meant to receive lots of traffic, lots of sand from the beach. It's not very beachy colors though, I must admit. I didn't think about that. You'll notice I'm using this gray as one unifying color all the way through it. At least until I run out of the gray, then maybe I'll switch to another unifying color. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. Okay. Can you imagine when this gets really big? I'll need a big table. And again, this was a utilitarian way to make more use of old garments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know when we've talked about rug hooking and where that got its start. They did a lot of it up in Nova Scotia, and one of the thoughts is that there were old, of course, uniforms from the wars, and out on ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sailors would use, to while away the time, they would use bent hooks and they would use fabrics and they would create some rugs. Some of the old, what are they, Glenfield mats up in Nova Scotia were made out of nylons. So this number of skips seems to be keeping it flat. That's good. One, 2, 3. So who wants to make one of these? I tell you, it takes a lot longer than you might think. But the fact that it lasts forever is a good thing. Make sure I keep losing my count. Okay. There. And you just have to muscle the bodkin through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then maybe on that note, we'll see who's out there, and, oh, here, I have to hide this seam. Yeah. We'll see who's out there, and we'll do the magic trick. We'll extend this piece of... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll skip this one. That may or may not work well. Let me make it cut, but we'll see. Or waffle, I mean. Get wavy. Let's see. I'm having to go back an awful long way here. So, what a fun week it's been. I think last time I saw you, we were still on the vineyard. Had a wonderful time. Best trip we've had in a long time, and I think a lot of it was because Bob took the whole week off. And we did a lot of fun things. And it was really fun. But now, this week, we came back to a lot of work. Okay, so here's my string. I want to add string. I'm going to run out. So I take my darning needle with the point, and I jab into the center of this hollow thread. A little tricky. It's coming out a little bit. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to thread my needle with this new thread and pull it through, and then pull it back up so that that end is hidden. Okay? That's half of it. Now I go back into the other end. I love this trick. And I again go down the hollow of this thread, so it cut, like 3 inches, a lot of it. Whoops. This thread might even be made out of linen, you know what? That would make sense if it is. Or it may just be cotton. Okay, and I thread the other side and I pull it through. You ready? And now it catches. And there we go. We have a long piece of thread. That's the only magic trick I know. Okay. Oh, no, wrong needle. I'm so disappointed. I lost 2 really good needles the last time I went through the TSA line. Remember I had my needles tied to my scissors? Well, apparently when TSA, and they were this big, and I've gotten through TSA many times, but this last time TSA measured, and I guess I needed them to be 7 inches, not 8 inches, and so they confiscated them, and I had my 2 needles tied. And thank goodness I found another needle today, but with the studio being in half in boxes up in the attic, I thought for sure I'd be driving over to Joann's to buy needles. Oh, for anyone out there, I noticed, at least here in Massachusetts, the Notions wall is on sale 50% off this weekend. Pretty sure this weekend. Maybe it's next weekend. Where's my... It's coming up soon. It's in the latest circular. Okay, so here we go. Once I get around to this far, we're going to change colors. Or I'm going to show you how to braid. Just braid this, and then we're going to change colors. I do not expect we'll be done tonight. Just to set expectations. But it's just so nice to just be here with you guys. See your finishes. Angela, I can't get over that beautiful quilt you made. And the story that goes with it, that's priceless. I received remember the quilt that we had up in the Vermont Quilt Festival this time? I received it back all in its original acid-free box and acid-free paper. I was very pleased. In fact, I put it back upstairs, and I added some more provenance to it in that I put the paperwork from its 40th anniversary showing up in Vermont this June. And I think what I should do is I should print out a picture of my aunt and cousin standing in front of it. They went up to Essex because no one else in our family could get there. And I was so pleased. They texted a picture. In fact, I might have it. I know I have it. I'll show you. Where's my big picture thingy? Oh my goodness! Who is doing a 18 minutes ago? Oh, there's so much going on. Can't wait to tell you. Hang on. Hey, that's my sister, KB. Here you show up as KB. Here you show up as a number. KB writes from Pennsylvania. She says, the wool braiding is so cool to see. Oh, good. She says, thank you for sharing. KB says, I'm finally stitching the binding on the last side of my monster postage stamp quilt. Hope to be done in 60 minutes. Way to go. Keep on keeping on. I'm glad you're there. I hope you've had a good week. Okay. So let me find the picture from here it is. So here is the family quilt from the 1860s, and my Aunt Jane and my cousin Rick. And they're up in Essex Junction, Vermont last week. And that's the quilt in the 40th anniversary of the book Plain and Fancy. Yay! I love that they went there and did that. Okay, so what were we doing here? Oh, I was lacing. This is definitely a good thing to do with music or a podcast or a TV show. Oh, funny story. Mom, if you're out there, I'm sorry. Bob and I, when we were down there visiting, did I mention we were there with my mom for the week? It was great. We had a great time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not the least of which because my mother is so good to us, and she cooks for us, and she just takes care of us and entertains us and tells us when things are happening around the vineyard. Just so much fun. I just lost my train of thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd been out and about, many days in a row, and we finally were at a point where we were going to stay in one night. And we were out on the porch, and Bob and I said, Mom, have you heard of the TV show Outlander? And do you get stars? Well, it turns out she does get stars, and we dialed up Outlander, the final episode of the first season. For any of you who have seen Outlander or follow it, you may remember that horrible episode with Captain Jack Randall. It stays with you. And my mother was a trooper. She watched the whole thing. 5. Okay. So now we're going to skip this one. But Bob was pretty embarrassed. It is not an episode for the faint of heart. But I think we're going to watch another episode. We went, see, we watched the first episode of season 2, and I think we'll have time this weekend to watch one. Heck, I'll be braiding a rug. Well, you kind of have to watch. You can't watch much. You have to look down a lot. But I have you here. So what else is going on? We can look at what happened in history today. Believe it or not, this was on this day, July 8th, even though last week when I was talking about the war, I was talking about the wrong war. I should have been talking about the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I don't know why I was talking about the Civil War, other than it started on July 1st. And I guess that's when we had FiberCast last. But it really isn't that tied into Independence Day. But today, on this date in 1776, they had the first outside reading of the Declaration of Independence on the steps in Philadelphia. Okay, see how close I am now? I think it's time to braid. This is probably the most fun of the whole thing. And see how these aren't too long? This is important so that you don't get too caught up. So, in a perfect world, I'd have something to clamp this onto. For this purpose, I'm just going to use the weight of the clamp as enough. You really want to get the braids tight, and it's a flat plaiting. I guess it's technically not braiding, but it is braiding. It's just braiding these flat pieces, flat against flat. And the open seam is always down, and you just have to keep working. It takes practice, but you know, it doesn't. This time around seems faster than when I made the chair pad a few years ago. So you just keep braiding like this. You want to keep it literally right flat so that the back looks just as good as the front. Because remember, over the years, when the rug gets warm, we'll turn it over and over. So also with the latest package of wool that came from 1958, a big piece. It's out in the deck, airing out. I still have to wash that. But on the latest installation of wool from Elise, it was bought in 1958 at the Shetland Wool Company in Boston. My mother looked at it. She knew right away where the store was. Beautiful piece of wool that was going to be made into a jacket, is what it says. But it will make a beautiful, good color for a rug. It's a green. It's very pretty. Green plaid. But can you imagine 1958? So that piece of wool is more than 50 years old. No, 40, let's say 58. 60, 70, 80, 90. Yeah. It's 58. Amazing. And someone will put it to use. I'm not sure that it will find a place in this rug. Okay, so see how I've run out of this? Now I'm going to show you how I add to it. But I'm all the way around here. Actually, I'm going to change colors. I'm going to go with, so this went all the way around 6. Okay. So I'm literally marking where I need to cut. So I unbraid it, and I need to cut the braids right there, kitty corner, diagonally, and then add another color. And it's not, this is a very forgiving craft, which you'd think, therefore, it would be right up my alley. But I find that it's very hard on my hands. Wow, wow, wow. So I cut it at a 45-degree angle. I might use that again. And the colors I'm going to use are this red. So I literally cut this also on an angle. This is where quilting experience comes in handy. And the mitering that we're used to. Watch, I'll make a mistake, but no, I won't. Okay. Oh, here's a comment. Jean says, when I talk about my hands, she says, if your hands had to churn butter and knead bread dough to survive, the braiding might seem easier. That's a great point. That is a good point. And maybe if I keep doing this for a while, my hands will get stronger. Yeah, I'm going to do this on this. So literally, you just sew it together. Right side, flip it over. Oh, so glad you could join me tonight. This is just what the doctor ordered, I have to tell you. I shipped off 5 tablecloths today for events that are happening in the next couple of weeks around the country. I think I mentioned I'm going to California on July 20th for 10 days. Ooh, that wasn't good. That was a pin. And the way that trip works out is that Friday, 2021, the 22nd of July, I won't be able to do FiberCast. Oh, I bent the pin. Bad. Because I literally will be working that Friday night. So we'll do a makeup, and I'll tell you ahead of time. I am interested, for those of you who would like to do the mystery quilt, send me an email or IM me or just post about whether you're interested, if you have a certain theme or type of mystery quilt you'd like. Are you interested in scrappy? Are you interested in modern? Do you want it to be a complete surprise? And yes, I did just sew that twice, just so that we know we have a good seam. So literally, here we are. I'm literally going to cut this. See how it's off a little bit here? Just going to even that out. No harm. So it's not too bulky. Same thing over here. And then I don't even have to wet this really. You just kind of, with your fingers, refold it back up. And with any luck, it's in the right place so the seam is hidden. We'll see. Okay, there's that one. And then this one, same thing. I'm going to just clean it up a little bit on each side. And then fold it. That's looking good. Okay. Here we go. We need to make a big, long braid to go all the way around. So this is rug braiding. Very utilitarian. I love it. And to Jean's point, if when a lot of these were made, this was just one more thing that was done around the house to keep the home moving along. And it reminds me of this wool stitchery book from the 1960s that came with this latest shipment of wool. What a hoot. It's akin to, some of the writing is like that, that funny meme that goes around periodically from Singer about how you should do all your chores, clean up the house, put on your lipstick before you sit down at your sewing machine. Well, I have to read this to you. So this book was written in the 1960s. I can't find an exact date. I did find it for sale in a UPenn bookstore in the 1970s. And I believe she must have been from around the Pennsylvania area. This family from where this wool came is from the Pennsylvania area. It's called Wool Stitchery. It was done by Ozma Gallinger Todd. And it's a whole book about wool stitchery. Now, other books she's written, this made me laugh, by the same author, is Basket Pioneering, Bob and Lace Step by Step. I think I was born in the wrong era. First Lessons in Weaving, The Game of Weaving, Hand Weaving with Reeds and Fibers, The Joy of Hand Weaving, Rug Weaving for Everyone, and Upholstery at Home. Man, she was prolific. I love this. This is all about fiber. I love this. So it literally is all about wool. The table of contents is a riot. And there are illustrations. The table of contents is, number one, the importance of wool. Number two, the role of wool craft. And it goes on to talk about woolen seams, woolen edges, a stitch of unique charm, and it goes on. But what caught my eye was, I think it was the second chapter. This made me laugh. It says, every woman wants her home to be as thoroughly cheerful and livable as any. Not necessarily as expensive, but having an equally charming atmosphere. It is possible for you to give to your home this coveted quality, to make it the most restful place imaginable. Give free rein to your particular preference for certain forms and colors, and work these out with intelligence. Make sure you do that with intelligence. A home is like a painting, said to be never finished by the artist, needing always one last touch to bring out its greater beauty. And then it goes on. But wait, there's more. Making your home a masterpiece can be a thrilling task, achieved fascinatingly step by step. With the help of many modern literature on decoration, color schemes may be selected, harmonious objects chosen, and those grouped artistically. Perhaps most enjoyable of all is the making up of the fabrics that soften the lines of the room. And on it goes. There's literally a paragraph here about the pleasure of working with yarn. One could not hope to find a more agreeable material to work with than wool. Textures velvety, silky, soft as fur delight the touch and produce a mood that is likely to express itself in beautiful form. Actually, I'm making fun of this, but there's some real truth to this. Haven't we talked about that over and over, how just the touch of the wool makes you happy? Anyway, it's called Wool Stitchery by Ozma Gallinger Todd. It's going in the collection. All right. Let me see. Let me keep braiding a little bit, and then I'll see who's out there. If you have any questions about braiding, oh, and I'll tell us a little bit of the history. But I think I've about covered what braiding, rug braiding is. We've prepared the wool. Make sure it's free of any food particles or organic matter that will attract the bugs. Then cut it into 4-inch strips, either way. Actually, tearing it is preferable if it's woven straightly. Your plaids you may have to cut. Then fold it into 1-inch and roll it up, and make sure to wet it. That's a tip, a trick, if you will. Get yourself the special lacing. I think I got this down at Franklin Mill, so it is around. If you don't have a local store, try thewoolery.com or Joan Mosimer Studio, or Harrisville probably has it. Any good source of your wool. Door Woolen Mill, I'm sure, has it. Out west, Pendleton. Are there any Pendleton craft areas? So now I'm pulling this so that I'm hiding the seam. I know you can't see this very well. But what I'm doing is I'm hiding the seam. We're going from the peach to the purple or maroon. And the seam has to be hidden. And again, this would be easier if I had this clamped and I could just pull it straight out. It's a huge braid, that much is sure. Okay. So we just keep, the bigger the rug gets, the longer you can just braid. So that's a good thing. We're dinging, so let me stop there. See how the color change? I don't know if you can see that, but the colors have been changed. Get that around. Oh, who else is out there? Let's see. Oh, by the way, you can hear that we don't have band tonight. The boys aren't around. And we're almost up against the hour. Where did the time go? Oh my goodness. Hey! Elise, you are there! Oh, I hope I didn't miss you. Jules, Juliana, I see you. She says, hello, tune in. Oh, and Granddad, hello. I hope you're there. Thank you for all of the wool and for such a nice visit. Oh, and Elise says, I've located my needlepoint and will be needlepointing away and swigging a beer, she says, and hopefully having success at tuning into you. Anyone else? Oh, that's wonderful. Yay. Oh, and Granddad says, when your parents have a more active social life than you do, ... He is out, as he should be. He says, Granddad is wondering how to access it after the fact if possible. I will definitely let him know. Click on the same link that I sent you earlier, and the recording will be there. I'm so glad you're out there. Oh, and there are so many of you, and I'm sorry I've missed, let's see. Oh, I can't get to us all. Let's see. Colleen. Hi, Colleen. She says, Lynn and Fibercasters, looking forward to learning about rug braiding. The time got away from me. I'm sorry, everyone. While I know it's been around forever, I don't know much about it. Colleen says, the weather has been nice here. Warm days, cool nights. I made another little suitcase, this one with a cowboy theme for my one grandson. Colleen, thank you, Lynn. You are the best. You're YouTuber forever. Thank you, Colleen. I'm so glad you tuned in and that the suitcases are coming along. Ginger Rose, hi. Wanted to see the results of my spinning that I started last week during FiberCast. That I did. You said you wanted to, and I said I did. Ginger says, I just finished today and got what I hoped. The right weight to match a shawl, which I started in the spring but didn't have enough yarn to finish the border. Oh my goodness. You are a master spinner. That is amazing. Can everyone see this? Look at the threads of that. 2 of them on that penny. That is lace weight wool. Ginger, that's impressive. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, and it is merino silk. A combination. Ooh, can we get some? stickchick.etsy.com. Ginger Rose, I'd love to let people know about you if that is you. I think it might be. So again, if anyone is interested in beautiful merino silk, 40% merino wool, 40% SW merino, 20% Tussa silk. I don't know the difference between merino wool and SW merino, but doesn't matter. It looks beautiful, luxurious. And again, one more time while I have you, and I know I'm going over, stickchick.etsy.com. And we'll talk about that more next week. Ginger, thank you. Sue Norton, she says, hello, my lovely Fibercasters. Glad it's Friday. Amen, me too. Been a long, hot, muggy week in Illinois. Still working on Dear Jane and my circle hexies. Tomorrow I'm going on a garden walk. Ooh, beautiful. She's going to 8 personal gardens throughout the county. Weather is supposed to be perfect. Gardening and quilting are my 2 favorite hobbies. Both time-consuming, but love them both. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Well, Sue, on that note, they're my favorite. As it turns out, they're my favorite hobbies too, and such beauty. I think we enjoy beauty, and you can touch things, you can get exercise with gardening, and even if they're time-consuming, we're never going to be bored when we retire, right? Anywho, thank you all for joining me here on FiberCast. I'm so glad you could join me. Remember, have a great weekend. Remember that. Do what makes you happy, especially if it has fiber in it. Enjoy the summer. It only comes around once a year. And I will see you here next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. I really am going. I have to stop. The mouse isn't working. Okay, bye everyone.